Today I'm gonna explain you the basic of Java programming, so you get an understanding how does the structure of a program works. And yeah, so basically we're gonna first make a Java project. We're gonna call it tutorial. I'm using the IDE of Eclipse. So basically an IDE is an environment for coding where you have a lot of tools which you can use. If you don't know how to install Eclipse, tell me in the comments, I will show you a tutorial. That's not a problem. So yeah, we created our a project, so we're gonna then need a class. We make new class, and this class we're gonna call it main. What a class is, I will tell you that later. But first of all, we need to understand that every Java project needs to run to work. So basically, if I want to make an output, just a text output in the console, if I try to run it, it doesn't work. I get errors. So in order to run something in Java, I need the standard method. This method is defined by Java, and it's the only method that tells the compiler or the program to run, the first run. It's public static void main string args. You're gonna need this method every time, but only once. So yeah, if we then make system.out.println, for example, hello world, don't forget this, we don't get any errors, and we can run this program and we get in the console hello world. It works. So yeah, this method or this function main is the core function to run our code. So what does we have more? So to understand the structure of programming, because I want to teach you the basics that you can learn any other language you want. So first we have variables. That's every time existing. So for example, in Java there's data types. I make string test name. So you see, I made a variable. So what does string mean? String is a data type, and data type is something that tells the program, okay, you have a variable which name has test name, or you can call it Peter, for example, and the variable Peter is a variable which can only store string, and string is a chain of chars. So we can with string define hello world, but for example there's other data types like int Adam. You can't make those brackets because it's an integer. An integer can't get a string data type, so you can only get numbers, and Adam 0. Those variables are like a cartoon where we store data, but only one. So for example, let us make something realistic. We have string called car, and this car or car name, the car name is, for example, Cybertruck, and the car PS is, for example, I don't know, 500. Sorry if this is wrong, I don't know. But yeah, so then Elon Musk decides to make an upgrade of the PS, and we can say car PS is 600. So we are redefining or changing the variable's value. So let me output it in the console. First of all, we output the car PS here. So what you gonna think it's gonna output? It is 500. But when we are calling the output here, it is calling 600 because the variable got changed. Yeah. Okay, we made variables, data types. So let us make something basic. Important for programming are if-else statements. So let us make int income 200. No, 2000. Okay. Now we want the program that tell us if we have enough money to buy, I don't know, something. to buy a Cybertruck. Yeah. Okay. We have then when we want something with a condition, an if condition. So if we have an income of over 3,000 euros, then we can buy the Cybertruck, else we cannot. So if our income, so the condition of the if statement, is greater or equals than 3,000, then we're gonna get the output: you can afford the Cybertruck. But if our income are less than 3,000, then no. You can not afford the Cybertruck. So yeah, let us start the program. We cannot afford the Cybertruck. So, but when I increase it of 3,000, we can afford the Cybertruck. So, but now we want to make a dynamic program. So like, okay, we can't really change our income, but we can have savings. So for example, we have int saving equals 0. We are a poor guy. So now we make a boolean operator in the if condition, so that we are saying, okay, if my income is greater than 3,000, or those brackets describe or in Java, our saving is greater than 20,000, just make it 50,000. Okay, then we can afford the Cybertruck. But if we haven't enough savings or enough income, we cannot afford the Cybertruck. So yeah, let us see. Yeah, we cannot afford the Cybertruck, but if I make savings of 50,000, I can afford the Cybertruck. And if we have an income of 3,000 and 50,000 savings, we can still afford the Cybertruck. So this is our logic in programming those conditions, and there are a lot of things. You have or or you have the and. So basically you can only afford the Cybertruck if you have an income over 3,000 and your savings are greater than 50,000. So with these variables we have enough, but if I make it 40,000 we cannot afford it, just for example. But yeah, I will make it for our program just this, because if our savings are now 0 and we have 2,000 euros income, what I'm gonna do when I can still save. So for example, when I cannot afford the Cybertruck, I can still increase my saving 1,000 euros. So but then this program just goes one time and we just saved 1,000 euros. It's not very nice. Let us make the output a little bit clearer. So you cannot afford the Cybertruck, savings, dollar saving, and income plus income. So we get the output of the variables too. Okay. So yeah, we got our savings of 1,000 and our income of 2,000. So let us make. Now we are going on the next step. We're gonna learn the for loop or the while loop, or we're gonna learn loops. So there are two types, like I said, while or for loops. Let us make a while loop. So this is also there going to be a statement, and we are basically saying if our saving is less than 50,000, just okay. Now it stopped. Good. What we are seeing is, so we are saying with while saving less than 50,000 that every time our saving, so you need to think it like this. First of all, we're going in the while loop. We check saving. If it is less than 50,000, we are going in the loop, and then we are checking if our income is greater than 3,000 or saving is greater than 50,000. Then we can afford it. Else we're gonna increase our saving. And you see, the program increased our saving till we have enough savings to buy the Cybertruck. So, but what happens if our income got 3,000? We can clearly afford the Cybertruck. Oh, I need to make here you can afford. We can clearly afford the Cybertruck. Yeah, the loop will go on, because we are only breaking the loop when our savings increased over 50,000. So we can afford the Cybertruck, but we don't have enough savings. So we are going in an infinite loop. So what we want then is something like, okay, when we can afford the Cybertruck, break the loop. Bam, you can afford the Cybertruck. You don't have any savings, but you have enough income to take a credit. A debt. Oh, it means debt. Okay, yeah. So that are a while loop. So a while loop is only going like, is still going on. Still the condition is not fulfilled. Okay, but there are now for loops. So like for, and what is in for loop? It is like a I show you. It is a for loop takes int I equals I0, I smaller than, I don't know, 15, I plus plus. So what does the for loop say? In the for loop we are declaring a variable which gets the start value 0. And as long as I smaller than 15, I will increase itself by 1. And yeah, so the big difference between the for and the while loop is the while loop only will break if we're going to this break statement, or if the condition was fulfilled, like our savings got greater than 50,000. But our for loop doesn't care about our savings. It does care about the break. It will break. But if there is no break, it will go on until I exceeded 15. So our for loop will 100% go 50 times, not more. But where our while loop, if I increase the statement like savings are less than 100,000, it would go a lot of more times. That's the big difference. So yeah, we cannot afford the Cybertruck. No, we can afford it. Good. That is the difference between for and while loops. And now we have this. Now we want an array. Now we are going another example. An array is like this. That's an array where, okay, so an array is something like a list where you define how many. So we had int car, and this car worth 100 euros, for example. So a variable can store only one value, but an int array can store 10 values, not only one value. So that means to get the inner values, you need our friend the for loop. So, but first we don't have any data in this array store. But still, let us make if int I is less than, and now that's new. That's a method in the arrays called length. So basically we are getting the length of the array. This should be 10, and so our for loop will go 10 times as long as how big our array is. If I make it 20, it will go 20. So we program dynamically on based how many datas we have in our array. So yeah, our I should increase by 1. No problem. And now we can output system.out.print car price I. Why? I will show you what happens. So we are getting zeros, only zeros. And just to know, if you are exceeding the limit of the array, so +1, so not it will not go 10 times, now it will go 11 times, we are getting an array index out of bound exception, because our array have a limit and we set this limit. So yeah, that's why we get here an error. So but no problem. Yeah, so we have no datas. So how does we access the array and put data inside or change data inside? It's very easy. We are saying car price, and in those brackets we put an index. This index, and there we put like 100. This index tell us, okay, in our car price we have like 10 variables, and we are getting the very first variable, and the very first variable we're gonna change it to 100. Let's run our program. 100 0 0. Nice. And if you continue this, couple of times. We make 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. And then we need to change the index. So yeah, basically I changed the index of the array to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah, blah, just because the index describes at which point to change the variable in the array. So we have 10 variables declared, and by saying 0 we want to get the first variable, by saying 1 we want to get the second. Java counts with 0, it begins with 0 counting, not with 1. And yes, so that means with this we can outprint it and we get all the data we inserted it. But the problem with arrays are that we have a limit. We have a limit of 10. And this problem we're gonna see next episode of Java basic programming. And yes, thank you for watching and have a great day.